back in 2022, my partner and I hit our savings goal for a deposit on a house because, like most people, we had put a home ownership up there as the pinnacle of adulting, of responsible finances. And it was only when we started house hunting that we started to really picture what this would be like for us and discovered a whole bunch of costs that nobody talks about, which made us really question whether house buying is the be all and end all that it's made out to be. Right, so in this video, I want to share with you 8 of the hidden costs that we discovered so that you can make an informed decision about whether or not to buy a house, or whether now is the right time for you to buy. Right, so over in the US, the heart of the American dream is the perfect house behind a white picket fence. And here in the UK, it's basically a national obsession, home ownership. However, the narrative in both of these places comes down to the fact that owning a home equals financial security. And the only way to get there is to save your little ass off until you have 10 to 20% of a deposit, at which stage you give that to the bank, sign your life away for 20 to 25 years, and then hope like hell that there is no crash in the economy. So you can probably tell there are a couple of problems with this narrative. One of them is that the advice, or the root of this advice, is pretty old. It stems from a different time when inflation was not high, salaries were higher than they are now, and house prices were way, way lower. So it was a much more achievable financial aim than it is today for many, many people. The second problem is the idea that owning a home equals financial security. That is a totally false narrative. So firstly, as we can see with inflation going up and people losing their jobs, if you lose your job and you are no longer able to pay for the house that you bought, you're not able to pay for the house that you bought. I mean, it's as simple as that. So there are external factors that are going to affect your ability to pay for your house because it's unlikely that you will have bought it outright. The other thing is that interest rates change. So for example, now in the UK, there are a whole bunch of people who bought houses when the interest rates were low, so their mortgage repayments were at a specific price. Now that their fixed term is over, the interest rates are going up, so their mortgage, when they come to renew it, is more expensive. And a lot of them, about 700,000 people, can't afford their new mortgage. And once again, this rock of security, your house, is potentially just whipped out from under your feet. So regardless of what I've just said, the fact is, for no matter what kind of financial risk you're taking on, risk is inevitable. Risk is what's left when you have planned for every single eventuality. So basically, you can be super well prepared, but there are always going to be a couple of unknowns that you just have to accept. And so the trick with financial investing is to understand that and make sure that you are able to handle that risk. Which is why I think that these 8 lessons that I have uncovered are really helpful. So the first section, these are what I've called the hidden costs. These are things that they don't come to mind immediately. So we have legal fees, surveillances fees, and if you are buying your second property or your house price is above a certain level, you're going to be paying property tax. Next, I have what I've grouped as the phantom costs. So these are the things that we just take for granted that are going to be covered, but when you actually add up the numbers, they become quite significant. The first one is maintenance on your house or your apartment. This one depends a little bit on your setup. So if you're in a house, you obviously own the land, you own the house, and you're responsible as an owner for everything that could go wrong. The good thing is that you have a bit more control over that because you can decide on the contractor. However, if you buy an apartment, you're going to be paying a service fee. So instead of you going out individually finding a contractor to fix your roof, you're going to be paying a sum every month that goes into the kind of building kitty, and that's the kind of building committee will be using that cash to pay for the upkeep, the cleaning of the lobbies, fixing the lift, cleaning the swimming pool or looking after the gym if you have a fancy apartment block, but you don't control how much things cost. The next big thing that is the actual cost of the interest. So at the moment in the UK, the mortgage interest rates are around 5%. So if you buy a £300,000 property over the course of your 25-year mortgage, you are going to be paying £15,000 just in interest. The last bucket of costs I wanted to talk about was probably the one that resonated with me the most, the opportunity costs. So this is very rarely talked about, but there are some real great pluses to not owning a home. So for example, you are less physically flexible. So if you are someone who likes to move around, or you feel like you haven't found your forever place yet, and you're likely to move pretty soon again, buying a house could be really expensive, and you will therefore lose the opportunity to up and leave quickly when you want to, or you're going to pay a hell of a lot of money because you now need to pay additional tax, pay all the transfer fees and everything when you sell your house so that you can move somewhere else. The other opportunity cost is literally that cash that you would have available to invest in other things that you want to do. So whether that is buying a business, starting a business, investing in a really interesting investment portfolio, or education, if you sink all of that money into a house, you don't have that money available to better yourself in other ways. You've committed to a house, and that's where your money's going, basically. Alrighty, so those are the 8 things that I learned when I started really getting into the process of buying a place, and I really hope that you found them helpful. Thanks for watching.